I've got, says we are live, Scott. Hey, got TV going on in the background. I guess it's 2 hours or 1 hour probably. You know what? This will be over. Nobody that wants to watch us live will have to miss the Biden State of the Union. So there.
Oh gosh, I forgot about that. Yeah, that's right. That's tonight, isn't it?
Yeah.
You lucky people. You
can do both.
Yeah. Or choose wisely.
Hey, look at that. There's the black cricket. What's he up to?
So this is the page I was working on last week.
Here, I'll solo you. Figure out where the buttons are at. There it is.
I don't know if you remember this page.
I do. I remember that pose. Yep. And I remember Dan said, "Yeah, looks good."
Yep. So I want to show you that. I'm working on the next page 7.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot what I was going to say. Two things that you probably don't know because you're not on Facebook.
No.
One, my book, I don't know if you knew this or not, the Christmas story that we worked on was published in the Christmas.
Excellent.
And I don't know if we've talked about that, but also I got paid. I got money for that.
Oh my gosh.
Well, I'm not going to go into how much.
Yeah, I know. It's not, keep your day job, all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't care. In fact, I told Dan to put my portion of it in the studio kitty for expenses.
Yeah, sure. It's like, well, you put a lot of effort into it, though. It's nice to feel like something happened, but you're like me. I get a lot of gratification out of realizing something is published.
Oh my gosh, Ellis.
Yeah.
This is the first check. Well, it wasn't a check. That's what I told him. I said, did they send you a check? If so, I want a copy of it. But they did not send a check. They sent PayPal to Dan on behalf of, how to distribute it, how he felt, and I said, this is the first, despite having a 4-issue mini-series that made money, this is the first time a publisher sent me any money.
Mm-hmm.
And it's through Antarctic Press, which I'm just tickled pink about because I have always wanted to do something for Antarctic Press.
Now you have.
Because they're down in Dallas. And back when I was submitting stuff to like Marvel in the early 2000s, I always sent stuff to Antarctic Press and they would respond. But never, positively, obviously, or I would have worked for them a long time ago. But so to do something for them, to me, is just, after all this time, it's just like, wow. I was thrilled when I found out it had been accepted.
What was the gist of the Christmas story? What did you guys write? I'm not sure if I remember if you already.
It was a Tomorrow Girl story, which is
Tomorrow Girl.
Ben Dunn's character.
Mm-hmm.
And it was called Escape from Planet Xmas, and it was about 2 aliens that kind of looked like elves and were basically causing mayhem. And one of them basically was distributing bombs, and so Tomorrow Girl had to capture the bombs.
Put a stop to that one. Yeah.
Yeah, and she was saved by a man in a sleigh with a white beard.
All right.
When the bombs went off, and she flew it up in the atmosphere, and she could only use one power at a time, so she couldn't be invulnerable and fly. So for the bomb not to kill her, she was going to have to turn invulnerable, but then she couldn't fly, so she fell, but she lost consciousness, and when she came to, she was like, "Oh my gosh, what happened?" And then she's like, "I thought I heard a man in a sleigh," or something along those lines.
Yeah.
About 10 pages, a lot of fun to do. Thrilled about it. And
Excellent.
Dan has submitted the black cricket. I'll say this. I don't know if this is public knowledge. I don't think Dan's on here because he said earlier he was tired. He's going to go to bed. Dan has submitted the Black Cricket Chapter 1 to Antarctic Press with the idea that we would become the backup story for Tomorrow Girl. So it would be in a monthly, and
it would be busy.
Oh shit, yeah. So my mom, I was telling my mom about it. She goes, well, what are you working on? Oh, I'm working on this. Well, I said, well, we're going to try. She said, what are you going to do with it? I said, well, we're going to try and become the backup for this thing. The backup would be good because it would not be a full, 20 pages. It would be 10 or 12 pages every month. But still, I mean,
that's a lot.
Mom was like, can you keep up with that? And I go, well, yeah. I mean, I think I can. Obviously, a lot of things.
It's just all pipeline, though. It's like, can you cough it out quick enough for the pipeline to be happy?
Yeah. I told my mom, I go, well, first off, this is chapter 4 that I'm working on. So, so we're ahead already. And I'm sure by the time this happens, we'd be even a little farther ahead. But I mean, I mean, I'd be foolish not to jump on it, I think, I mean, to me, it would just be cool.
Yeah, it would be cool.
Part of it is because Ben is so close, being down in Dallas. So there would be the possibility of maybe doing conventions with him or, and again, I don't really draw manga style, which has always been what he's told me. Well, you don't really draw manga style. Well, the guy that inks it, Jeff,
pushes you a little bit toward something.
Something, and I'm good with what we're doing and where we're at and everything. So we'll see what happens. I am cautiously optimistic. Nothing. I thought Heaven's Rejects would be this big slam dunk, and that didn't pan out. I mean, it became a book and they sold it, but they really didn't push it like I thought they would. And the company went through some issues that really hampered it, I think. And so I'll try. I mean, one thing about Ben Dunn is he's been doing it since the 80s. So he's done all of the work, so it would be a good thing to glom onto, I think.
Yeah.
And like I said, I mean, I just discovered he has a YouTube channel, and it's one of those. He reminds me. This is gonna sound weird, but I'm gonna say it anyway. There's a certain type of person that I seem to always have in my life. Just kind of this particular kind of mannerisms and stuff, and it reminds me of the first boss that I ever worked for at the newspaper. Just kind of a slubby. That's not really nice they say, but kind of a slubby guy, and it seems like I've always been around. There's always been like one guy like that in my life, and I see these videos like, oh, it reminds me of the guy's name was Bill. It reminds me of Bill, But anyway, we'll see. I mean, if he goes for it, it would be great. I would love to do it. And if not, we'll do something else with it.
Sure. Yeah, well, that's the deal. Oh, and speaking of something else, you were interested in, I don't know, I probably should. Are you interested in discussing this low content kind of books that I was interested? You said you're of the opinion that people are making a lot of money on low content books.
Well, that's what I've heard.
I've heard it too. Yeah, that people
not discuss it.
Not discuss it. Not yet. Okay.
No. We can talk about it. I mean, I don't know how many people watch this. I doubt they'll still. What Ellis is talking about is, I saw a YouTube. It may have been on Facebook. Anyway, on social media, I saw this thing where it's like, you can make notebooks. Basically,
Yeah,
you use
sketchbooks, notebooks.
sketchbooks or which I would make sketchbooks and
Mm-hmm.
upload them into as print on demand books on Amazon and make money. But I don't. But the problem is, I think you got to have a hook to yours.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that, I mean, honestly, I've got a sketchbook that I did years ago. I should load it up. I mean, I got a PDF of it. I should load it up as a print on demand.
Well, you could rule it out in some way or other, and have that ruling have some sort of function to thumbnailing or something like that. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff to do.
Yeah, there are things you could do. I thought about doing a book. Well, a friend of mine. Well, I met a guy. Let me put it that way. I met a guy that had some issues. I don't know what and he lived in a group home. And I met him because he liked to draw comic books, and he used these books that they sell that had the pre-printed panels on them.
Mm-hmm.
As and his family would buy him one, and he just fill it with comics. And he was a very religious guy, and he would adapt the Bible. He had biblical adaptions of different chapters of Daniel or whatever. And he would use that. So you could do something like that pretty easy.
Mm-hmm.
Or do a deal where it has like a book for thumbnails.
Yeah, anything someone but like you say, some sort of fun gimmick, and of course another low content type of book, which I think is still a real viable thing to do, is a coloring book. Take your artwork and say, hey, fill this in with crayons.
Yeah.
It'll probably look better than the way I had it. And so,
Maybe so.
I was thinking about that for my all that art I did because I have 90% of that started as a line drawing of the in-world stuff, the fantasy stuff.
You ought to. I wonder if they do. They wouldn't care if you published that.
No, I don't think so. And especially considering it bears no resemblance to what ultimately got published. Color and all that with no labeling and anything.
I've done so many samples over the years. I've thought about doing.
You could do that, yeah.
A book of
color my old samples.
No, not color them. Just like, hey, here's, just sell it as an art. Well, here's what I would like. I'd like to have a copy of it. No. I have everything I sent off, I scanned in. So, or I've scanned it in. So just make a book of my, art of Scott Sackett, my samples from 2000 to 2018 or whatever.
It's one of them. That's one of the main things I've got on Amazon is basically my miscellaneous from years past. Just put together because I can make a PDF of it, and there it is.
I cannot tell you how often I look at idle hands.
Well, I appreciate that. I had a guy that was encouraged me to do it. What was his name? Young Woo at when I was working at a video game company, Heavy Iron. He said, yeah, you should do this, and encouraged me. And I found that so difficult to do. It is the most basic level that you could possibly do with no flash to it or whatsoever. It's just the images, page of image after image, with no good book design to it. It's just my drawings, and that's
I like it. I dig it.
It is what it is. Yeah, it is that. It manages that.
I should do that.
Sure.
I wonder
if you wanted to get lazy and do the idle hands approach. Yeah, you could produce one of those in a hurry, couldn't you?
Okay, so So at my work, I had all these, because a lot of times I'd print these out at work. I hate to say that, but I didn't have a good printer at the house. And for a while, I was under the illusion that you had to print them out 11 by 17.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would print them at work. And so a lot of this stuff I had at work on my computer. And for a while, I didn't have a scanner at the house. I scanned it all at work at break time and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I would, so at my work, I had all these. And one day when we weren't busy, which is never anymore, but one day we used to be real slow in the summertime. I went through and I found all that, and I kind of in my mind rebuilt when I drew it, and I dated it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got a web page that's called The Art of Scott Sackett. It's a blog, Art of
Mm-hmm.
Scott Sackett. And I did that for a while, and then I got tired of it, and it was a lot of work because I was
Mm-hmm.
writing the story, but I could reconstruct all that stuff, you know.
Yeah, that's the deal. I mean, all these files are laying around. I could do that, and of course, some of this historical stuff people would really appreciate getting
Yeah, I mean, it
getting
would be
able to look
cool.
at it.
I would just think it's cool to have, because I have somewhere I've got all the artwork, but it's not very organized, you know. And I don't have. I mean, I got the digital files, you know, but I mean, you know, it would be cool to have. It would be cool to have it uploaded. It'd be cool to have a book of it,
Yeah.
you know, because some of it I really like, you know, and
Well,
it's
the word is
cool.
just escaping me, but there's what I always called it was there's a certain kind of archiving where you are just basically commemorating and putting together a certain kind of memory book. But as a pay on demand thing, that it's just a file that sits there, and if one person a year buys one, that's it. You know, it doesn't matter. Amazon doesn't care. You
Yeah,
know, otherwise I would have been kicked off long ago. I said, hey, buddy, get a
yeah.
life.
You're not.
You're
Yeah, it's
not,
not
you're
like
not moving any units. Get out of
it's
here.
not.
They
It's
don't
not.
do that.
Yeah, it's not like Diamond. They don't. Yeah,
Uh-uh,
they don't
uh-uh.
care because for them it's not that big a deal either.
No, no. It's like, oh, here's an order. It's all going to be handled by a robot eventually anyway, so why should they care? So
Yeah, it's funny,
it's probably no doubt handled by a robot right now.
and you know what's funny is I've thought about doing like an artist edition of Heaven's Rejects,
Uh-huh,
you
yes.
know, which was like a pencil version,
Uh-huh.
because I think I have all my pencils before I inked them, you know, and
Well, there you go. Yeah, if you've got that digitally, you've got all you need to do. And shoot, don't even tell those people you're doing it. Just do it. Yeah,
I've thought about that.
they are going to reach out to you saying, "Hey, here's our
Well,
lawyer. He
yeah,
wants to talk to you." He's not going. They're not going to do that.
I don't know if the writer would say anything, but my reply to anybody would be, well, since I haven't seen a dime yet, you know,
Yeah, exactly.
maybe
You're doing it. You're doing it for you, and a, what would have to be ultimately a pretty small audience. But there'd
yeah,
be enough people interested in it that I think it'd be worthwhile for both for you and the audience. That I'd like a copy of it. I'd like to, see it, see what you did.
yeah. That's two things. So write that down. So I need to do a Heaven's Rejects. Uh,
And just
so the
think of the value of the sample thing. Saying, here's you might want to look at this book of some stuff I did. This is what I do. That's the other
yeah,
big deal. It's like you've got a very nice piece of sample work that you can send out.
well, and here's and also the book of samples. You know, I could
Yes. Well, there.
see
Yeah.
people
There's
pitching
the.
that as, hey, uh, you know, I I broke into. Here's my journey into comics.
Sure.
You know what? I could do that. Could be the title of it.
Journey into comics.
My journey into comics, or my. Let's see. Call it Comics Rejects.
Yeah. There you go.
The companion volume to Heaven's Rejects. Comics Rejects.
The slush pile or whatever.
Yeah, just the idea would be like, hey, this is the stuff that didn't get picked up, but
Yeah.
but I mean, I like looking at that stuff, and this is so I was talking to a guy at my work, and his dad works at my work, and we were kind of talking about people that just look at their phone, what they call it, doom scrolling.
Mm-hmm.
This guy was telling me, he goes, what my dad likes to do? He likes to look at his phone and look at photos. He said if he's sitting there, instead of looking at Facebook, because he didn't care about Facebook, he'll be looking at old photos. And I was like, I have like 25,000 photos on my phone I never look at.
My gosh.
Or whatever the number is. It's a lot. And it's like, why would I look at Facebook? And that's kind of what those samples are like. I would just look at them, and again, I see all the flaws and why I didn't get picked up, but it's interesting to me to look at, and it might be.
I thought of the term scrapbooking. What? Hang up what? Hang up what?
Sorry. Oh,
Sorry.
No, we're good. My dog had a little piece of plastic in her mouth.
Oh, no.
She was in my office. Anyway, scrapbooking? Is that what? Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's like you're putting stuff together that you want to crack out and look at every now and then, and it's like that's a way to do it. You can have, like, I just ordered that new version of my book which you were a big help on. We should all talk about that. You art directed me on my my paperback book of saying, well, you should try this for a color, or what do you think of this color? And I said, you know what, that is probably better than my red orangey thing that I did. So, I did that. Red orange, of course, has got that vibrance of blood and death, I guess, but the blue was more pleasing to look at.
Well, it was a little garish, Ellis.
Yeah.
I don't know what your color. I know you're colorblind. I don't know what your color blindness is.
Well, I've had the problem with the orangishness before, people not liking it because it didn't. The problem there was I thought I was using what I was calling red, and this person was just very unhappy with the idea that we didn't get anywhere close to red as far as he was concerned. And
red is
so, I just had to keep saying, okay, here's red. Okay, let's call this red.
Nope.
Yep. I had to keep moving and finally get it red enough for him.
Red is
but yeah. Well, and it's one of those colors that as you shift it, as you turn it into gray, it gets so much lighter than you think it is.
Yeah.
That's the other thing about value in digital. It's like it'd be nice if you could depend on it, but it just shifts all over the place. You can't say, okay, this point of color on the color picker, this is going to be the same color. Your blue point on the color picker is going to have nothing to do with the value you produce.
So
color picking yellow right there. Yeah, go ahead.
About your book.
Yeah.
I read your book. I thought it was pretty good.
That's all I want to hear. What did it? Was it like I said? Was it like running into anything like speed bumps along the way? Did you say what is he saying here? Because I'm worried about my audience. You understood it and it read.
Yeah, no. I sent you all the notes. I sent you were the only ones that I forget. It's been a while since I sent you those, but There were the chapter. There was one chapter that I was kind of like, and I sent you a note on it.
Hmm.
And then there was, and then the
Because
chapter.
of race. Because of race, I'm getting a little fast and loose with words like savage and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Well, but no. I forget what chapter it was. I said, this chapter kind of drug a little bit.
Oh no! You know what?
Yeah.
It's weird and coincidental, but as I was prepping that and getting it ready and doing this and that for it, I got to that chapter and I thought, oh, I got to read this now, and it's only like 3 pages long. But you're right. It is so incidental. It just shows you
Oh
that
yeah.
the basics of story is such that it's like, okay, you got me interested in this. Don't
Yeah. Why are we
deviate.
shifting
Don't
gears?
why are we over here then? And I thought it was a good character moment for this guy that was going to just very soon be killed. And so it was just a quick drop in on his character and what he gets up to, and it also sets the locale. But for all that function, you're right. You get to it and you go, well,
It's like putting out an
when are we gonna get back to the story?
Yeah,
You
it's
know.
like putting out an anchor, man. It's just like drag to a
Mhm.
halt. But
Well,
I
yeah,
just thought that the
if
book
it
was good.
does, that's all that matters. Is if it does throw out an anchor, you gotta be aware of that.
It wasn't terrible, and it
Hmm.
kind of paid off in the end. I forget
Well, he dies
the
very gorily. He dies in a very gory way, and later on, a character comes back to the same setting and knows right where he's at and all that. He wakes up from a trance, and so it's
yeah.
like, so some of that is foreshadowing. I mean, but the deal is like you say, in a, anyway. But it was good. It was a good note.
Thank you. The I enjoyed the book. It's anybody that doesn't know about or hadn't heard about it or whatever. You had it listed as a kaiju western, which I guess it kind of is, but
Yeah.
I
Hello.
read it as more of a Cthulhu type.
Yes. Uh huh.
It
Yeah, he
was
is
kind of
more of a
a
Cthulhu. Yeah.
yeah, and I enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty good. Are you the best writer in the world?
Not
Not
yet.
yet. Got a couple more books. Was it a
Yeah,
was it a
give me a few more years. Except I just mean that literally. Give me a few more years.
few more
I'm
years?
old.
The
No,
what
no,
did I?
I'm just doing it as almost to keep the mind from turning into mush. I found it
Oh,
very
if you
challenging and very satisfying to pump that out as something I'd never done before doing a book.
it was cool because I don't know if I've ever read a book that bent genre like that. I don't know how
Mhm.
many westerns there are. I mean, I think there's probably horror westerns if you looked around, maybe,
Oh yeah.
but not a lot. I wouldn't think. Not novels, maybe like comics, and
Hmm.
there may be some. But I thought it was a good genre bending
Well,
western.
according to Razor Fist, who has his own genre bending thing out there called Ghost of the Badlands, which I need to buy. I'm always daunted by when I have to go to pay, these crowd funds. It's like sometimes you get to it and it says already funded or something like that, and it's like, oh yeah, I don't care. I want a copy. And it's like, wait a second, can I not crack through already funded to get my copy?
Yeah.
I don't know. So it's just probably stupidity on my part or ignorance, not so much stupidity.
Well, I'm not a big crowdfunding guy because I don't like jumping through the loopholes of all that
Yeah,
jazz. It's like I just want to buy it.
yeah, yeah.
I don't want to. I
Just
don't want to.
offer it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think I bought a few things that have been crowdfunded initially, and then I bought them afterwards.
I've decided DL and Odious is going to be my strip I've been working on inking, and
Yeah,
I'm
great.
about on panel 100, and I only have 40 to go, so I'm getting close. So I'm going to put it out as a really nice constructed PDF on Gumroad. You know, if you know,
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea.
yeah, it's like just skip the whole idea of putting it out. And later on, I may circle around and do an Amazon book again with that scrapbooking notion in
Yeah.
mind of wanting to see it myself as a book. But you know, initially, just say, hey, you want this? It's on Gumroad. It's kind of cool, and and I'm going to follow on with a more of an article based thing. Not an article. It's still going to be fiction, but it's going to be spot illustrations like an illustrated children's young adult book, you know, that has spot illustrations in it, where I'm going to sum up because I end the strip on a cliffhanger. So I'm going to have it in two parts. You can have the part with all the weirdos and all the combat that occurs in the first part, and then you can find out what it all meant. So,
Oh, yeah.
you know, so there'll be an offering of two things. If you liked what I did here, you might want to understand what the whole relationship is about with the robot and all that.
Yeah, kind of a director's cut.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it'll be a first person account still from the robot, but it will be more like that first person voice, which is kind of what the strip is as well, but much more so with when it becomes a short story. Basically, it's a little short story that I'll sum up what you were looking at and why it was, you know.
Nice. Well, you've inspired me. Now I'm thinking about what can I do with all this art I have on my hard drive.
Sure. Well, yeah, you know, it really is kind of my favorite thing to buy at a Comic Con is to go buy an artist's table and say, hey, you got your sketchbook. I say, that's what I want.
You know what? That is my favorite thing to buy at artist tables.
Sure. Even though some of them can be awful pricey, I remember being almost embarrassing myself. I just almost backed out. You know, I was chatting up Mike Mignola at San Diego Comic Con. Said, "Yeah, I got to have this." You know, picked up a sketchbook, and he was getting like I don't know, $60 or $70 for every one of them. It's like, that's not what I wanted to pay. Okay.
Well,
okay.
you know, it's funny because like back when I first started going to San Diego, they were stapled and they were $10.
Yeah.
And they were only like 24 pages or something, you know.
Yeah.
And I didn't mind that. And then, you know, they started to get, well, you know, I paid $10 for that, and then you see like the Kim Jong-gi one is like 80, and you have a heart attack with it. You go, well, hell, it's 600 pages.
Yeah.
It's a
Lots of stuff. Well, this Magnolia book wasn't that big. It didn't have that much in it.
Yeah, no. Yeah, that's the problem is then you get the guys that are doing them.
And they know what they're worth. They know what they're worth. Yeah.
Right, and they're like, well, I'll do them. I got Humberto Ramos. I'm not a huge Humberto Ramos fan, but I was buying his. He put out a Marvel one, and it was hardcover. And it was $35, but it was 100 pages or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And in comparison, but I've got some that I think are really really cool.
Oh yeah. I need to crack all mine out again. Yeah. It's good to review stuff like that.
I'm a big fan of Stuart Eminem, and what's funny is I really wasn't, but he was doing all this stuff for Marvel, and I was like, I'm not reading this book or that book, and I went to visit my friend in Wisconsin, and we went to a comic shop, and they had a copy of his sketchbook there, and I thought, well, I kind of flipped through, and I was like, I kind of like this. I should buy this just because he's so popular. And then I look around, I was like, oh, there's a volume 2 out, and you know. So yeah, it's my favorite thing to buy if they're true sketchbooks. Sometimes you buy them and it's like, oh, it's got all finished art in it. I don't care
Yeah.
for that.
That's.
It's gotta be a sketchbook.
Yeah, I like little explorations of this and that, and super roughs and like that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Hang on, let me see. I'll grab a couple of, if I can find some here. I try and keep them all in the same spot, but
I sometimes wonder if my camera's focusing on dust on its lens. It's so bad. Let me see if that helped any. Well, it may have helped a little bit. That rope flow that I've been doing, I am slowly but surely getting a little better at it. I had a couple of recent breakthroughs that have kept me from going completely crazy with it.
the what kind of flow?
The rope flow, that exercise of
Oh yeah.
flopping a rope around with kind of the idea of rhythm and all that. It's a really I think it's done wonders for. I didn't even know I had a bad back until I started doing it.
Oh gosh. It's like, hey,
I just feel so much better. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna. Some of these I bought at. Two of these I got three here. Two of them I bought at cons. This is the art of Sean Crystal.
Sean Crystal.
And, he did, which I don't think he works in comics anymore. This is from 2015. I probably bought it in 2019. He was blowing them out for $10 at his table, and it's hardcover.
It's hardcover and all inked and all that.
Well,
it's not too sketchy.
Well, hang on. He's got his roughs here that he did for these, but this isn't why I bought this book. So now he's got his roughs for pages that he did. He did a Batman story, and then he's got that, and then he's got a thumbnail for an X-Men story that he did.
Yeah.
So this is cool. I'll pull this off the shelf and look at it. And then he's got some just characters and stuff he's drawn for different things.
Yeah. Qualifies as a good sketchbook as far as I'm concerned. Yeah.
It's $10 signed.
Yeah, sold. I don't know how he got that. What year was that? Because that $10, getting all that done for $10 is just out of the question now.
Originally, what's funny is I got at New York Comic Con. I think he wanted 30 for them, or 20 or 30. They weren't real expensive. I don't know how many pages it is. I don't know if it's numbered. They're not numbered, but. They like when I got it at Books Cuniconia, they had it on the shelf for cover price. But like I said, he was selling them at his. I think he's out of comics now, and I think he was just having he had a table and he was just trying to blow them out.
Just getting rid of his inventory, yeah.
Yep. So this one I've got is called Androx 2 by Andrew Robinson.
It's the guy that Dirty Harry killed in the original Dirty Harry, the actor.
Oh, really? Andrew Robinson?
Yeah, he also was in Hellraiser, the first guy that lost his skin.
Cool. So I don't know what some of these are, but there's lots of like rough character drawings. I don't know if he did cards or covers or commissions. He did a Jack of Fables. Here's thumbnails. I don't know if it's thumbnails or roughs or whatever. I like when you see like construction drawings, lots of this kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, he looks like he probably, if he inks that stuff, he must have to ink it digitally or something.
Well, obviously do storyboards for something. He did a book called, I think it's called The Fifth Beatle, which is okay. Yeah, this I love. I pull this off the shelf and flip through it occasionally. And I don't know if there's I think I got a deal on this one, but I don't know if there's an Android. And he had another book that I looked at, but I like this one more. And the other one was more like finished stuff. And I was like, no, I don't want this. I want the other one. But the other one was more expensive, so he's trying to talk me into the other one. It may have been a hardcover. So then I have this, and I cannot recommend this book enough. I bought this off of Amazon. The library had a copy of it. It's called The Bird King by Sean Tan. And it's just Sean Tan is like an illustrator, does comics, a bunch of stuff. And it's his crazy drawings. Reminds me of your stuff in some ways.
Yeah, it shows a whole lot of draw through and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, just some of them is little illustrations like this. He drew some drawings from life.
Yeah, I was looking today at the Instagram, and a friend of mine that was really a good inker, and since has gone on to work on the Microsoft campus for years and years, and has made God knows how much more. He's ready for Social Security. Let's put it that way. He's made enough money that they'll pay him a lot for Social Security. He'll get the max, but of course he won't need it. He'll have a lot of nice money socked away.
Yeah, probably 401k
But at the time, he was one of these guys that, he was disdainful of stuff like worrying about money, and it came to him. That's the way. Sometimes, that's what actors talk about. It's like the day I quit caring and showed up at auditions because I just didn't care what they thought. Then I started to get the jobs. And so that that sort of mindset does get you there a little quicker sometimes. Well, and they call it they sense the hunger, and I guess it's just not an attractive feature. It's like you're saying, I'll do anything to work in this movie. It's like okay, thanks a lot.
Comics,
we'll call you. Yeah.
Yeah, that's when they're like, nope, not going to call you. Oh, okay. So I'll show you this last one.
And part of that, of course. Go ahead. What else you got?
So this one is a little bit different. This one I printed out from a guy's website. And of course,
you made your own.
I made my own because, and what's funny is he had them on his website numbered. And it is God, what's the guy's name? I'm blanking on the guy's name, but he was an animation student. Now he's working for Marvel. Can't think of his name. Oh, Nick Bradshaw.
Oh yeah, this looks like really fun work.
Yeah, he has a very animated style. But so what I liked is he would do these like fill a page with a bunch of drawings related to each other, like Batman stuff.
Whatever, some explorations he was doing for some concepting stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Like here's an example. This is like a page of Avengers designs.
Oh yeah. Nice stuff.
Yeah. Venom stuff, Anyway, I don't know if this qualifies.
Have you watched all the Venom movies that there are? Have you seen all the Venom movies?
I have not. Funny, I was flipping through there and I was thinking, I wonder if Ellis has seen the Venom movies. Have you seen them?
I've seen, I guess, the first two. I think that's the only ones they made, right? I don't know. And of course, he slipped into Spider-Man and as a character that they didn't use the same sort of concepts they introduced in that Spider-Man movie. I forget which Spider-Man that was.
Yeah. One of the non-Tobey Maguire ones.
Yeah, I don't think Tobey Maguire had to deal with being. Yeah, he did, because that's why he became evil. That's and did the disco dance. He was Venom for a while. Yeah.
In the third one.
I guess that's it. We're dealing with the that good actor's name, Tom Hardy.
Oh,
his
yeah.
his Venom is based on another character getting the not Spider-Man getting it.
Right. Yeah, they've exorcised Spider-Man from that origin.
Yeah.
It's not the same.
Yeah, which I guess that's part of being a Fox product, which they're entitled, I guess, to do whatever they want to with it or whatever.
I don't know how that works, but yeah, I think it has something to do with that. I don't know if it's. I don't know.
Yeah, that was interesting with those card companies. You had this long list of stuff. It's like, hey, scrolls, I can't do scrolls, and all that's because of this cross connect on all that weird untold story kind of stuff that went on. That's all just legal. It's like, you touch this, we sue. That's our bailiwick. It says so right here. Read it.
Crazy.
And weep.
Crazy.
Well, I guess that's how the world is made.
Yeah, that's how you make all money at Microsoft.
Yeah, it's like yeah, that's right. I mean, that's how the money was made. That's right. It's how Sweden gets into NATO. That happened today.
I heard that. What the?
I guess they just decided to jump in.
Switzerland.
Oh, switch. Yeah, it was somebody that's traditionally neutral on most everything like that, and they decided they were NATO now. Yeah. Hey, did you ever start on Frankenstein? That audio book I recommend to you.
I checked it out and I listened to about maybe 30 minutes of it.
Okay. Think you'll get back to it?
I don't know.
Okay, I just wondered. No, if it didn't get a hook in you, you may not be back to it.
Well, audiobooks lately have kind of been bouncing off of me. The problem is I can't listen to them at work anymore.
Oh, gotta have your undivided attention on something, huh?
Yeah. Well, too many people call. I can't listen to an audiobook and write an email. It just
yeah.
And or not the level of emails I need to be doing for work, at least. Let's put it that way.
I'm looking up at the TV. It looks like all the chumps are just about reaching maximum density. Biden will be along pretty soon.
Oh well, we're about out of time, so. Yeah.
Are
you gonna watch it?
I wanted to kind of have it on and see if it looks like they pumped him up full of meth and to get the most out of him and see how he behaves, see if he looks okay. I saw a really good Dana Carvey bit with him the other day imitating Biden, and a bunch of run-on sentences and stuff like that. It was really funny. He ends it with like, he's just all put out because people are acting like he hadn't closed the border. I'll close that border like you've never seen the border closed. And he ends up with, getting into stuff like you can't believe it. And he goes,
what you're talking about.
He goes, you just won't believe it. It's not butter. At the end, he just like, his brain just pinged on the fact of an old ad. And it's, you won't believe it's not butter. But it made more, it was done better. I ruined it for you.
You were saying it, and I was hearing it in Dana Carvey's voice.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So it's all good.
James Wood is the guy I got it from. He on Twitter. It's like, this guy's a genius. He always has been. Listen to this. Okay, I will. I'm just, my hope is that, they don't have too much shenanigans with this. The shenanigans are just going to be out the roof. They've got so much to make up because nobody believes Joe Biden won legitimately. I don't think all the people, nobody can believe that,
I would say, what do you mean legitimately?
Well, the deal is, what I mean is that you have such a disagreeable guy that so many people
I can't imagine people
dislike, and you act like you can just stay in your house and campaign with a little bit of advertising here and there. You don't need to get out and show people what you are or anything like that. You're just going to sit still and you're going to have the 81 million vote response. What nonsense. And it's that did not happen legitimately.
Well, I think they got that many votes, but I think they went out.
Oh yeah, you think
they filled out votes for people. Hey,
they just flat manufactured them. Yeah. They just turned them out like they were.
I don't know if I go that far.
Well, I think I would. I think they had they just had blanks at the ready.
Well, here's my thought. I don't think they have to manufacture because I think there's people out there that they could bribe and cajole and trick into voting for Biden.
Well, yeah, there was such a powerful group that wanted Biden in there, including the Supreme Court. All this recent stuff has gone Trump's way. Supposedly, at the time, Justice Roberts was very clearly heard, basically almost screaming about the idea of slowing down the process of whether or not the count was legitimate, because he was supposedly screaming that riots would occur in the streets if they didn't just move along. And it's what?
I think they would. Think they would have, but that.
Well, yeah, but who cares? It's like it's like
that's not why.
That wasn't the point. The point was if there was a legitimate concern that there was massive fraud, find out. And there was legitimate concern. There was massive fraud. But we never got it. We didn't get a real time look at that.
Well, since this video is going to get struck down anyway. So my cousin, who's now departed, at the time, I think it's storming over here. She lived in the poor part of town. Okay. And I think kind of where she lived. Over there by north of you several miles. She was at like 29th and Western. Okay.
Yes.
So so at the time we were getting groceries for her because she did not drive, and so we went to the grocery store, and there were huge, at the Walmart neighborhood market in her neighborhood, not in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
In her neighborhood, there were in the frozen section. There were big signs that said, "Be sure and vote," and had information about how to register. And it's like, well, okay, first off, why are they there? Why that part of town?
Mm-hmm.
And I have some suspicions that had to do with different things, and then why? And then who pays for these? Is this a Walmart thing? And why are they not at my Walmart?
Well, that's not. Yeah, you're right. It's like
that's how they cheated, if you want to call it that. Is they targeted particular voters. If you need a ride to the polls, call this number. If not necessarily illegal, but certainly shady.
Yeah, and that's another thing that just galls me is that so much of that extra bit of oomph that the party gets, the left gets, is paid for by our government.
Yep.
Things like Acorn and all like that are.
Yep.
They were fully funded by the government. It's like, no, you don't get to pay these people that I hate to go out and grow. Most everybody would hate what some of these organizations represent, and it's like,
well,
my government is paying them to grow. They're sprinkling them.
I blame. You may disagree. I blame a lot of Trump's problems on himself because he thought he could get in and be nice and play with these people because he's not a politician.
That's half the reason I want him in again is to see what he changes. What changes about how he approaches it.
And cleaned house. If he'd have cleaned house, who knows how different things would be.
The deal is they jumped on his guy Flynn, and they jumped on him using all of that as a part of their excuse, saying this guy is saying this and that, and we interpret it to mean this guy is bought and paid for. That was all James Comey was doing. He was sending on memos about this and that, about know very well that he was just basically playing for his side to
if you
bring down Trump.
When the Clintons came in, they cleaned house.
Yes, instantly. So ruthlessly.
That was a big thing. It was like, It was not. Oh, you've had this job, because there was a lot of complaint about this non-political people, and he's getting rid of them.
Oh yeah, he secured the travel office. The travel office was a big one. It's like what the hell? So it's like these are just people,
Nope.
But a big part of what they're going to want to do instantly is start abusing the travel office. It's like get rid of these guys. We want our guys in here.
And that's what happened to Trump. He had people working in the White House that he couldn't trust, so they'd leak everything.
Yeah.
They may not have been in a position to directly hurt him, but they're leaking whatever they can, And he's not. So a lot of the stuff I blame on him, for being. He was naive. Now, is he still naive?
I don't know. Yeah. Boy, I hope not. Yeah, you think he'd be. Yeah, you think he'd have it boiled off of him, realizing that they were going to continue after him as just a guy out there that still needed everything they could throw at him.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Well, we've gotten way too political. I'm sorry. It's all my fault. My passion with Biden going on behind me. What's that?
If anybody listens to this video, it'll be a miracle.
Yeah.
Because it'll be struck down immediately.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, I don't know. I don't know that they're doing that for small channels anymore. I could probably say anything I wanted to about COVID at this point. I would hope.
They got bots that'll listen to it, and all they got to do is get a whiff of it, and you're down.
That poor old Russell Brand. Nobody cares that guy was a slut 40 years ago or 20 years ago. Who cares? He's a guy that was promiscuous. Nobody cares and could even be made to care, except he went after Big Pharma.
Yep.
And that was his main downfall.
Yep.
But I guess he's back in a lot of ways. I think he's still got a pretty good YouTube presence, but he mainly has stuck himself over onto Rumble.
Oh yeah, that's where everybody's going.
They got canceled. Yeah.
It got canceled. Anyway. Okay.
Anyway, it's 59 minutes. 59 minutes. We did it.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds good. Did anybody watch? Did we get any comments before you go?
Did not see a one. Sorry.
That's okay. Dan did not watch. Or he said he wasn't going to because he was tired. He went to bed early. He's an hour ahead of us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He's out there with the Joe Biden, waiting for him to come to the mic. You'll have to
Yes,
wake
that's
up now.
yeah. Anyway.
Don't want to miss
Okay,
it.
dude.
Okay. See ya.
See you, man.